The ballroom glittered like a jewelry box. Crystal glasses clinked. Designer perfume mixed with the scent of imported roses. Chicago's wealthiest smiled their practiced smiles, writing checks they'd never miss while cameras flashed. Catherine Brennan stood at the center of it all. 78 years old. Steel gray hair pulled into an elegant bun. A woman whose handshake could seal billion-dollar deals, whose philanthropic work had built hospitals across 3 states. Tonight, she was announcing her latest project, $400 million for youth shelters. But in exactly 90 seconds, her carefully constructed world would detonate. 22-year-old Jasmine Cole moved through the crowd like a shadow. Black vest, white shirt, a tray of champagne balanced perfectly. She'd worked events like this since she was 16. Rich people never saw servers. They looked through them like glass. She preferred it that way. Against her brown skin, something gleamed under the chandelier light. A bracelet, delicate silver, woven in an intricate Celtic knot pattern. Old, weathered, beautiful. It was the only thing she owned from a life she couldn't remember. Then it happened. A woman's voice, sharp as broken crystal. Is it appropriate for staff to wear such flashy jewelry? Heads turned, conversations stopped. Jasmine's hand moved instinctively to the bracelet. Heat flooded her face. She'd heard comments like this before, always from women like this. But before she could respond, Catherine Brennan's champagne flute slipped from her fingers. The glass shattered. Expensive French champagne spread across marble like blood. Catherine staggered backward, her face drained of all color. Her lips moved, forming a name no one could hear. Rachel. Every eye in the room locked on her. Chicago's most powerful woman, trembling, staring at a server's wrist like she'd seen a ghost. Security moved. Catherine's assistant rushed forward, but Catherine couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Her eyes fixed on that bracelet with an intensity that made the air itself feel heavy. The elderly billionaire took one step forward, then another. Her hand reached out, shaking violently. Where, her voice cracked, where did you get that bracelet? If you're curious about what happens next, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. This story is about to take you somewhere you never expected. 3 days earlier. Jasmine's apartment in South Chicago, 600 square feet, a window that rattled when trains passed, but it was hers, paid for by 3 part-time jobs and student loans she'd be repaying until she was 50. Medical textbooks covered every surface. Anatomy, pharmacology, clinical procedures, finals in 8 days. Between catering shifts and hospital volunteer work, sleep was theoretical. On her desk sat a manila envelope, worn, creased, opened 10,000 times. Inside, her entire history. She pulled out the documents, same papers she'd memorized. Certificate of foundling, female infant, approximately 3 days old, discovered outside Mercy General Hospital, Chicago, June 8, 2003. No parents, no explanation. Just a baby wrapped in a hospital blanket with a silver bracelet pinned to the cloth. One Polaroid photograph showed the bracelet. The Celtic knot pattern was unmistakable. On the back, engraved in tiny script, 5/15/03. May 15, 2003, 3 weeks before she was found. A handwritten note on yellow legal paper. Sweetheart, I kept this safe for you all these years. It means something, don't ever take it off. Mama Jean. Jean Washington, her foster mother from age 7 to 14. Diabetes took her 4 years ago, the only person who'd ever felt like family. Jasmine traced the engraving with her fingertip. Custom work, expensive, someone cared enough to have this made. But who and why abandon her? You're spiraling again. Her roommate Maya Chen leaned against the doorframe, nursing student, best friend, the sister she chose. It's just a bracelet, Jasmine said, but her voice betrayed her. It's the only connection you have to where you came from. Maya sat beside her. Have you ever tried searching harder? DNA test, private investigator. With what money? Jasmine closed the envelope. I can barely pay rent. Besides, whoever left me didn't want to be found. Or couldn't be found, Maya countered. Maybe they had no choice. Jasmine had thought about that, obsessed over it actually. But hope was expensive, hope hurt. I need to focus on finals, she said, changing the subject. That's what matters. But the bracelet stayed on her wrist, 22 years. She'd never taken it off, not once. 2 days earlier. Summit Catering Services. A cramped office that smelled like industrial coffee and stress. Dennis Harper, Jasmine's supervisor, waved her in. 50-something, perpetually tired but fair. Big event tomorrow, he said, sliding a folder across his desk. Brennan Foundation Gala. Catherine Brennan herself will be there. 500 guests. Old money, new money, and cameras everywhere. Jasmine knew the name. Everyone in Chicago did. Catherine Brennan, real estate empire, widow of Senator James Brennan, childless. Her foundation had reshaped child welfare policy across the Midwest, ruthlessly generous, famously private. Triple pay, Dennis continued. These people tip like they're trying to impress each other. Could be 2 months' rent in one night. Jasmine calculated quickly. Triple pay meant catching up on utilities, maybe even buying textbooks instead of photocopying them. I'm in. Professional appearance only. Dennis's tone turned serious. No jewelry except simple studs. These people notice everything. One complaint and we lose the contract. Jasmine's hand moved to her bracelet. Everything okay? Dennis asked. She nodded, but her fingers stayed wrapped around the silver. She'd never taken it off. Not for job interviews, not for clinical rotations, not for anyone. Tomorrow wouldn't be different. Same time across the city. The Brennan estate, 14,000 square feet of history and grief. Catherine sat in her private study. Financial advisors and lawyers filled the room. Tomorrow's announcement, $400 million, her life's work. But her attention kept drifting. Above the fireplace hung an oil painting, a young woman with auburn hair and laughing green eyes. Around her neck, a silver necklace with the same Celtic knot pattern as Catherine's brooch. Rachel Brennan, 1979-2003. Her daughter, dead 22 years. Michael Torres, Catherine's executive assistant, noticed her distraction. 41, sharp, loyal, he'd been with her for 12 years. Mrs. Brennan, the press release needs approval. Catherine blinked. Rachel would be 46 now. She would have loved this work. Michael's expression softened. Everyone knew the story, the tragedy that broke Catherine Brennan. Rachel, 8 months pregnant. Car accident on Lake Shore Drive. Drunk driver crossed the median. Brain death by morning. Emergency surgery. The baby didn't survive. Catherine buried them together, mother and child, June 2003. The bracelet disappeared that night. Rachel's personal belongings at Mercy General. Gone. Despite private investigators. Despite a $100,000 reward. Gone like her daughter, like her grandchild, gone. Tomorrow's gala, Michael said gently. It's about moving forward. Is it? Catherine looked at the painting, at the Celtic knot frozen in oil. Or is it about pretending the past doesn't swallow us whole? She'd commissioned the matching set in Dublin. April 2002, mother-daughter trip, 1 bracelet for Rachel, 1 brooch for herself, both engraved with their return date to collect them. May 15, 2003. They never made that trip. Rachel died June 5, 2003, 4 weeks after the engraving date. The bracelet was on her wrist when the paramedics loaded her into the ambulance. By morning it was gone. Catherine had spent 22 years asking why. Was it theft? Something darker? Tomorrow she'd stand before Chicago's elite and speak about hope, about giving children futures. She'd smile, she'd inspire. She'd pretend her heart wasn't a cemetery. The gala, the moment after the glass shattered. Security closed in. Michael pushed through the crowd, but Catherine didn't move, couldn't. Her eyes stayed locked on Jasmine, on the bracelet. The ballroom fell silent. 500 of Chicago's wealthiest holding their breath, watching a billionaire stare at a server like the world had stopped spinning. "Where did you get that bracelet?" Catherine's voice barely qualified as a whisper, but it carried. Jasmine's heart hammered, every eye judging, assuming she'd been here before, always the outsider, always suspect. "It's mine," her voice steadier than she felt. "I've had it since I was a baby." "That's impossible." Catherine took a step closer, her hands trembled. "I had that bracelet made, custom in Dublin, there's only one." The crowd erupted in whispers. "Stolen, must be stolen." A woman stepped forward, early 50s, perfectly tailored navy dress, smile that didn't reach her eyes. Rebecca Brennan Torres, Catherine's daughter-in-law, married to Catherine's late nephew Andrew. "Mother Catherine," Rebecca's voice dripped concern. "Perhaps we should discuss this privately. I'm sure there's an explanation." Her tone said there wasn't. But Catherine ignored her, moved closer to Jasmine, her eyes desperate, hungry, seeing something no one else could. "May I?" Catherine's hand reached out, stopped inches from the bracelet. "Please." Jasmine wanted to run, disappear like she'd learned to do, but something in Catherine's eyes stopped her. Not anger, not accusation. Grief, ancient, devastating. Jasmine nodded. Catherine's fingers touched the silver, traced the Celtic knot, found the engraving on the inner surface. Her breath caught. 5:15:03. Catherine's knees buckled. Michael caught her. "It's real," she whispered. "Rachel's bracelet." 20 minutes later. A private room off the main hall, soundproofed, secure. Jasmine sat across from Catherine. Michael stood nearby. 2 others had joined them. Detective Angela Morrison, NYPD, 58, semi-retired but on the Brennan family retainer. Dr. David Okonkwo, family law specialist, sharp eyes that missed nothing. "I'm not pressing charges," Catherine spoke first, direct. "I need to understand how you have that bracelet." Jasmine's hands gripped her knees. "I was abandoned, infant, outside Mercy General Hospital, June 8, 2003. The bracelet was pinned to my blanket, that's everything I know." The room temperature dropped. Catherine's face transformed, color draining, hands shaking harder. "June 8, Mercy General." Michael and Detective Morrison exchanged looks. Morrison spoke carefully. "Mrs. Brennan's daughter, Rachel, died June 5, 2003 at Mercy General. Brain injury following a car accident." The words hung in the air. Impossible, terrible, true. Dr. Okonkwo leaned forward. "Miss Cole, do you have documentation, birth records?" Jasmine pulled papers from her bag, always carried them, her entire identity in a folder. Generic certificate, no parent names, no history. Catherine's hands shook as she removed her Celtic knot brooch, placed it on the table beside Jasmine's bracelet. They matched perfectly, same metalwork, same patina, same tiny maker's mark underneath. O'Brien Crafts, Dublin. The jeweler Catherine commissioned in 2002. Rachel was 8 months pregnant when she died. Catherine's voice fractured. "The doctors told me the baby didn't survive. Emergency C-section, too much trauma. They showed me. They said it was over." Silence crashed through the room. "Mrs. Brennan," Detective Morrison said carefully, "if you're suggesting—" "I'm stating facts." Catherine's business voice surfaced, sharp, commanding. "My daughter died at that hospital. 3 days later, a black infant was found abandoned at that same hospital wearing my daughter's bracelet. I want to know what happened." Jasmine's world tilted. "Are you saying I might be?" "I'm saying we need DNA tests." Catherine's eyes met hers. Immediately. 4 hours later. A 24-hour medical lab on Michigan Avenue. Cheek swabs, labels, chain of custody forms. Expedited processing cost more than Jasmine made in a month. Catherine paid without blinking. While they waited, Detective Morrison opened her laptop. 22 years of digital archives from Mercy General. June 5, 2003, Morrison read aloud. Rachel Brennan, admitted 10:42 p.m., motor vehicle accident, severe cranial trauma, passenger side T-bone collision. Skip the delivery, Catherine said, voice tight, controlled. Morrison's frown deepened. Emergency C-section performed at 12:34 a.m. due to fetal distress. She paused. Official record states, infant female, delivered stillborn, 1:18 a.m. Mother expired 1:47 a.m. from cerebral hemorrhage. Catherine closed her eyes, reliving the worst night of her life. June 8, 2003, Morrison continued. Infant female found by security guard Marcus Johnson, 5:45 a.m., near emergency entrance. Estimated age 3 to 4 days. Preliminary examination healthy, no distress. She looked up. One distinguishing feature noted, small birthmark right shoulder, crescent-shaped. Jasmine's breath stopped. Catherine noticed, what is it? Jasmine's voice barely audible. I have a birthmark right shoulder, crescent-shaped. The room froze. Show me, Catherine stood. Jasmine hesitated. This was insane, this couldn't be real. But she turned, lowered her collar enough to reveal the mark, small, reddish-brown, shaped like a crescent moon. Catherine's sob tore through the quiet. Rachel had the same mark, exact same location. Her father had it. His mother documented it in all family medical records, worried it was vascular. Michael's face went pale. If the baby survived, why would they report her stillborn? Dr. Okonkwo's voice was grim. Either catastrophic medical error, or someone deliberately falsified the records. Detective Morrison continued reading. Who performed the delivery? Primary surgeon Dr. Helen Yu, retired, living in California. Surgical nurse Patricia Reeves, retired, Arizona. Attending physician who signed the death certificate. She paused. Dr. Christopher Webb. A photo appeared. Man in his late 40s, white coat, confident smile. Webb was terminated in 2004 for insurance fraud. Lost his medical license in 2006. Current status, unknown. Catherine stood, her grief transformed into something harder, colder, more dangerous. Find him, she said. Find out who was in that delivery room. Find out who signed what. And find out why my granddaughter was abandoned like trash while I buried an empty coffin. The next morning, DNA results arrived via encrypted email. Dr. Okonkwo opened the attachment, his hands steady, professional, but his eyes betrayed emotion. He read aloud, each word landing like a hammer. Probability of biological relationship between Catherine Brennan and Jasmine Cole. He paused. 99.94%. The room erupted. Rebecca, who'd inserted herself into this meeting, went pale. That's impossible. I was there. I saw Catherine at the funeral. You buried the baby. I buried what they told me was the baby, Catherine said, voice steel. No one showed me. They said it would be too traumatic. Jasmine couldn't breathe, couldn't think. 22 years, foster homes, poverty, questions no one could answer. All because of a lie. Why? Her voice broke. Why would someone do this? Michael's expression darkened. Maybe we should ask who benefited from Rachel's death. All eyes turned to Rebecca. Her face flushed. How dare you? I wasn't even married to Andrew in 2003. But you were dadding him, Michael said quietly. You were at the hospital that night. The conference room in Catherine's estate felt like a courtroom. Mahogany table, floor-to-ceiling windows, morning light cutting through like judgment. Catherine's attorney, Sharon Kim, arrived with boxes, 22 years of financial records, estate documents, trust amendments, the paper trail of a fortune. She spread them across the table. Detective Morrison, Michael, Dr. Okonkwo, Jasmine, Catherine, and Rebecca, all present. Rebecca brought her own lawyer, Harrison Mills, silver hair, $800 per hour retainer. Sharon spoke like she was presenting evidence, because she was. When Rachel died in 2003, her estate was structured with clear terms. She pointed to a document. If her child survived, the child inherited Rachel's share, approximately $1.2 billion in today's valuation. Jasmine's stomach dropped. Billion. With no surviving heir, Sharon slid another page forward. Rachel's share reverted to the 1999 trust amendment. Secondary beneficiary, Andrew Brennan. Rebecca's face hardened. Andrew is dead. Lymphoma, 2018. What does this have to do with anything? Andrew managed Brennan Holdings from 2003 until his death, Michael said. You've managed it since, and the foundation. Detective Morrison pulled up financial records on her laptop. Let's talk about money. June 2003. Dr. Martin Caldwell, chief administrator of Mercy General, received a $300,000 consulting fee. She turned the screen. Wire transfer from Brennan Holdings legal department, approved by Andrew Brennan. The room went silent. Andrew authorized $300,000 to the hospital administrator, Catherine said, voice like ice. The same month my daughter died. It gets more interesting, Morrison continued. June 2004, Caldwell received $600,000 from a shell corporation, Summit Medical Consulting, dissolved in 2005, registered agent. She looked at Rebecca. David Chen, your first cousin. Rebecca stood. I'm calling my attorney. Sit down. Catherine's command stopped her cold. Rebecca sat, but her lawyer leaned in, whispered urgently. Morrison continued. Hospital staff present at Rachel's delivery. Primary surgeon, Dr. Helen Yu, surgical nurse, Patricia Reeves, attending physician who signed the stillbirth certificate, Dr. Christopher Webb. A new photo appeared. Webb younger at some hospital function. Webb lost his medical license for falsifying patient records, multiple cases. But here's what's interesting. In 2003, before his termination, Webb made 7 cash deposits totaling $120,000, all within 2 months of Rachel's death. Michael leaned forward. Someone paid him. That's speculation, Mills objected. Then explain the money, Catherine said. Explain why my nephew paid the hospital administrator. Explain why Rebecca's cousin's company paid him more. Rebecca's composure cracked. Andrew handled legal affairs. I don't know every transaction. You were there. Jasmine's voice surprised everyone, including herself. The night my mother died, you were there. I was Andrew's girlfriend. Of course I was there. And 3 days later I was abandoned. Jasmine stood, faced Rebecca, with a bracelet worth tens of thousands. Why didn't whoever left me just sell it? Why keep it with me? Silence. Dr. Okonkwo spoke quietly. Because it was insurance. If the baby was ever found, the bracelet proved who she was. The implication hung in the air. That afternoon, Detective Morrison made calls. Patricia Reeves, the surgical nurse, 73 now, agreed to a video interview. Her face appeared on screen, weathered, tired, guilty. I wondered when someone would ask, she said, voice shaking. 22 years, I've had nightmares every single night. Catherine leaned toward the screen. Tell us what happened. Patricia took a breath. The baby didn't die, she was perfect, crying, pink, healthy, 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Jasmine's hand covered her mouth. But Dr. Webb took her out of the delivery room, told us to document stillbirth. I tried to object. He said it was complicated, family directive. Family directive, Catherine's voice was sharp. That's what he said. I was young, scared. He was the attending. I thought maybe there was some medical reason I didn't understand. Morrison spoke gently. What happened next? 3 days later, I was leaving my shift. Saw Dr. Webb in the parking structure. Level C, he was with someone, a woman, dark hair, navy coat. They were arguing. Michael stiffened. Did you see her face? No, but I saw him hand her something wrapped in a hospital blanket. It didn't register until years later what I'd witnessed. Why didn't you report it? Dr. Okonkwo asked. Patricia's face crumpled. I tried. When a Dr. Caldwell, the administrator, he told me I was mistaken, traumatized from the delivery. Then I started getting messages. What kind of messages? Notes, no return address, typed. Said my family would be hurt if I talked, said my son. He was 9, they knew his school, sent photos of his playground. Catherine closed her eyes. So I kept quiet, Patricia continued. Got a transfer to another hospital, tried to forget. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Morrison paused the recording. Patricia, the woman in the navy coat, can you describe anything else? Expensive, designer, and she moved like someone used to giving orders, confident, entitled. Michael's face went white. Rebecca had a navy Burberry coat, 2003. I remember because Andrew bought it for her birthday, January 2003. All eyes turned to Rebecca. She was pale, shaking. Thousands of women own navy coats. Then take a polygraph, Catherine said, voice cold, merciless. I don't have to prove my innocence. Actually, Mills said quietly, given the evidence, cooperation might be advisable. Even her own lawyer saw it. That night, Catherine's study. Jasmine sat by the window looking at the city lights, trying to process that she was a billionaire's granddaughter, that her entire life was built on lies, that people destroyed her for money. Catherine entered, carried 2 cups of tea, sat beside her. I don't know how to do this, Jasmine said, voice small. I don't know how to be your granddaughter. I don't know how to be a grandmother, Catherine replied, honest, gentle, but we'll figure it out. They threw me away, Jasmine's voice broke, like garbage. No, Catherine took her hand. They stole you, that's different. You were wanted, desperately. I just didn't know you existed. Jasmine looked at her. This woman who was a stranger, who was her grandmother, who lost 22 years. What if we can't prove it? What if they get away with it? Catherine's eyes hardened. They won't, I promise you that. A knock. Michael entered, face grim. Detective Morrison found Dr. Webb, Florida. He's willing to talk. Catherine stood. Then we go to Florida. There's something else. Michael hesitated. Troy Bennett. Private security contractor. He's been asking questions about Jasmine, following her. Who hired him? Brennan holding security. Authorization code traces to Rebecca's executive access. When the powerful feel threatened, they don't just hide the truth, they hunt it. Miami 2 days later. A rundown apartment building in Little Havana, faded paint, broken air conditioning, the smell of desperation. Dr. Christopher Webb lived here now, Unit 4B. Detective Morrison and Michael knocked, once, twice. Footsteps shuffled, the door opened. A man appeared, 70 now but looked 90, hollow eyes, shaking hands. Dr. Webb, Morrison showed her badge. Webb's face drained. I've been waiting for you. He didn't ask why they were there. He already knew. Inside, Webb sat on a stained couch, couldn't stop shaking. I can't talk, he said. They'll kill me. Who will kill you? Michael asked. I don't know, that's the point. I've been running for 20 years. Morrison leaned forward. Tell us about June 5, 2003. Webb closed his eyes. I was paid $150,000, cash, 3 installments, delivered to a P.O. box. Paid to do what? Falsify the stillbirth certificate, Take the baby to a specific location. Leave her. The words landed like stones. Where? Michael's voice tight. Storage closet, near the loading dock. Level C. I was told someone would pick her up within an hour. Private adoption. No paperwork, that's what they said. You believed that? Morrison's voice was hard. Webb's laugh was bitter. I wanted to. $150,000 pays gambling debts, drug debts, debts that get you killed. What happened next? I documented stillbirth, took the baby, left her in the closet wrapped in a blanket. The bracelet was on the mother's wrist. I thought, maybe the baby should have something. Michael's jaw clenched. I left, came back 30 minutes later. The baby was gone. I thought everything went according to plan. Webb's voice dropped. But 3 days later I saw the news. Abandoned baby found at Mercy General. Whoever was supposed to pick her up didn't, Morrison said. They just moved her to the ER entrance and left her there, Webb finished. Michael stood, paced. Who contacted you? Who arranged this? I never met them. Phone calls, burner phones, cash drops. There must be something, Morrison pressed. A voice, a name. Webb hesitated. One voicemail left by mistake, woman's voice. She said, tell Caldwell it's confirmed. Then she realized her error, called back, said to delete it. Describe the voice. Educated, cold, and she had an accent not strong but there. European, maybe, or someone who'd spent time abroad. Morrison and Michael exchanged looks. Webb continued. After that night the threats started. Photos of my daughter, her route to school. I fled to Florida, changed my address every year. They still found me. He lifted his shirt, revealed a scar across his ribs. 2 years ago, man with a knife, gas station parking lot, said if I ever talked, next time would be fatal. Back in Chicago, Catherine's conference room, the team gathered again. Morrison shared Webb's testimony. The room listened in grim silence. A woman's voice, European accent, Sharon said, that's specific. Michael pulled up files. Rebecca's mother was Austrian. Rebecca spent childhood summers in Vienna. She has a slight accent when stressed. Catherine's face hardened, still circumstantial. I'm working on more, Morrison said. Dr. Martin Caldwell, the hospital administrator. He's in Orlando now. I have a warrant. How long? 48 hours. Too long, Catherine stood. I want answers now. Michael hesitated. There's more. Andrew's finances from 2003. Multiple large cash withdrawals, May through June. Total, $970,000. Sharon calculated. $150,000 to Webb, $300,000 to Caldwell. That leaves $520,000. Already paid to someone else, Dr. Okonkwo suggested. The question hung, who? That afternoon, Jasmine returned to her apartment. She needed clothes, books, her life before everything exploded. Security offered to escort her. She refused. I need normalcy. Mistake. She climbed the stairs to her third-floor unit. The hallway light was out. The landlord never fixed anything. Her key turned, the door opened. The apartment was dark. She reached for the light switch. A hand grabbed her, slammed her against the wall. Man's voice, low, cold, stop asking questions. Jasmine's hospital training kicked in. She identified vulnerable points. Her knee drove up, connected. He grunted, grip loosened. She spun, saw his face, mid-40s, scar through his left eyebrow, dead eyes. He pulled a knife. They said make it look random. Jasmine's heart hammered. She was 8 feet from the stairs. He lunged. She dropped, rolled. His knife hit the wall. She ran down the stairs. He followed, heavy footsteps getting closer. Third floor, second, first. We're processing the warrant, Morrison said, but Bennett disappeared. Her phone rang. She answered, listened. Her face changed. Troy Bennett was found dead. His apartment, single gunshot, apparent suicide. The room went silent. "That's not suicide," Michael said. "That's cleaning up loose ends." Jasmine sat in the corner, processing. Someone tried to kill her, then killed the killer. Catherine sat beside her, took her hand. "You're staying at the estate. No arguments." Jasmine didn't argue, couldn't. That night, a phone call, Morrison's cell. Unknown number. Detective Morrison. A man's voice, weak, old. "My name is Father Luis Mendez. I'm a priest, hospice care, St. Francis Hospital. I've been following the Brennan case." Morrison sat up. "How can I help you, Father?" "It's what I can help you with," the priest coughed. "I'm dying, liver cancer, weeks left. I need to speak with Mrs. Brennan. It's about Andrew, her nephew." "What about Andrew?" "He came to confession. 2018, days before he died, he was tormented." Morrison's pulse quickened. "Father, the seal of confession." "Andrew gave me written permission. Signed, notarized. He said if the truth ever emerged, I should speak." "What did he tell you?" "Everything," the priest's breathing labored. "But he wasn't the one who planned it. He just provided money and looked away." "Who planned it?" Father Mendez paused. "Someone Rachel trusted completely. Someone who destroyed her for profit." "Who?" "Her best friend, Dr. Diane Foster." The world stopped. The name exploded like a bomb. Dr. Diane Foster, Rachel's closest friend, bridesmaid at her wedding, the woman who held Catherine's hand at the funeral. Morrison pulled up files. Within minutes, Diane's life spread across screens. Diane Foster, now 48, psychiatrist, private practice in Lincoln Park, successful, wealthy, respected. But 2003 told a different story. Yale roommates, Rachel and Diane, 1997-2001, inseparable, every photo showed them laughing, arms linked, sisters by choice. Until money destroyed everything. Morrison dug deeper. December 2001, Diane married Grant Foster, investment banker, worth $6 million. May 2002, Grant filed for divorce. Reason, adultery, his adultery, new girlfriend Lauren Mitchell, 27, former paralegal. The divorce was vicious. Grant's lawyers argued Diane contributed nothing. Prenuptial agreement gave her minimal settlement. $250,000, that's it. Diane fought. Rachel testified as character witness. Spoke about Diane's sacrifices during Grant's career building. Didn't matter. Judge sided with Grant. January 2003, divorce finalized. Diane got $250,000 and crushing legal debt. But here's where it gets dark. March 2003, 2 months before Rachel died, Rachel co-signed a $2.5 million loan for Diane, using Brennan Foundation funds as collateral. Catherine never knew. "She forged my signature," Catherine said, voice shaking with rage. Sharon confirmed. If Rachel died and her heir was eliminated, the loan would be written off as estate loss. Diane keeps the money, no questions. Michael pulled up more records. July 10, 2003, Grant Foster died, boating accident, Lake Michigan. Investigation ruled it accidental. He was drinking, fell overboard. 5 weeks after Rachel died, Dr. Okonkwo noted. Grant's will was never changed, Sharon said. Despite his girlfriend's claims he promised to. With Diane as the previous beneficiary and no proof otherwise, courts awarded Diane his full estate through a legal technicality. Morrison did the math. $6 million from Grant, $2.5 million from Rachel, all within 6 weeks. And all she needed, Catherine said quietly, was for Rachel and the baby to disappear. The next day, Detective Morrison called Dr. Diane Foster. "Dr. Foster, this is Detective Morrison. I'd like to ask about Rachel Brennan." Silence, then, "I heard about Jasmine, it's miraculous. Catherine must be overjoyed." Her voice was smooth, practiced, but something underneath, fear. "Would you come to the station, clear up some timeline questions?" "Of course, though I'm not sure what I can add. That was 22 years ago." "You remember it well enough." Another pause. "Rachel was my best friend. You don't forget losing someone like that." "No," Morrison said, "you don't." They arranged a meeting, tomorrow 2 p.m. Diane agreed too easily, like she'd been expecting this. The interrogation. Detective Morrison, Catherine, Michael, Jasmine, Dr. Okonkwo, and Sharon filled the room, recording equipment running. Diane arrived with her lawyer, Stephen Walsh, expensive, ruthless. She saw Catherine. Her mask slipped for half a second, then reconstructed. "Catherine, it's been too long." She moved to embrace her. Catherine stepped back. "Don't." Diane's smile faltered. She sat, Walsh beside her. "Dr. Foster," Morrison began, "we're investigating Rachel Brennan's death, specifically the disappearance of her baby." "I thought the baby died." "The baby is alive, sitting right there." Morrison gestured to Jasmine. Diane looked, really looked. Her hands gripped her purse tighter. "How wonderful." Morrison slid papers across the table. "Rachel co-signed a $2.5 million loan for you, March 2003. Diane didn't blink. "Rachel was generous. She helped me through a difficult divorce." "We have phone records. 14 calls between you and Dr. Caldwell at Mercy General in the week before Rachel died." "I don't recall." "We have testimony from Dr. Webb. He says a woman with a European accent gave instructions to falsify the stillbirth certificate." Walsh leaned in. "Hearsay, my client doesn't have to respond." "We have a recording." Morrison played it, scratchy audio, woman's voice. "Tell Caldwell it's confirmed." Diane remained neutral, but her jaw clenched. "That could be anyone." "We have witness testimony," Morrison pressed. "Patricia Reeves, surgical nurse. She saw Dr. Webb hand a bundle to a woman in a navy coat, parking structure, June 8, 2003. Thousands of women own navy coats." "We have Father Mendez's testimony." Morrison played the recording, the priest's weak voice. "Andrew confessed. He said Diane Foster came to him in May 2003, told him Rachel's baby would ruin everything. She had a plan. He just had to provide money." The room went silent. Diane's mask cracked. Andrew was dying, delirious. "This is inadmissible." "Actually," Sharon said, "Andrew signed a notarized statement giving Father Mendez permission to break confession if the truth emerged. It's admissible." Walsh whispered urgently. Diane shook her head. "Your ex-husband died 5 weeks after Rachel," Morrison continued. "We reopened that case, found a witness, marina mechanic, Thomas Alvarez. He was paid $60,000 to tamper with safety equipment." She slid a photo. "He identified you as the woman who hired him." Diane's breathing quickened. "This is fabricated. You're framing me." "We have bank records," Michael said. 4 cash withdrawals from your account, May 2003, totaling $180,000. Same weeks Webb and Caldwell were paid. "Circumstantial." "We have motive." Catherine finally spoke, voice like ice. "You were drowning. Rachel had everything, and her baby stood between you and $8.5 million. Diane's eyes flashed, pure rage. "You have nothing, speculation." "We have enough to arrest you." Morrison stood. "Dr. Diane Foster, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit kidnapping, fraud, and conspiracy to commit murder." Walsh shot up. "This is outrageous." But something broke in Diane. 22 years of pretending, of hiding, it shattered. She stood, pushed Walsh aside. "You want the truth?" Her voice rose. "Fine, yes, I did it, all of it." "Diane, stop." Walsh grabbed her arm. She shook him off. Rachel had everything. Her composure exploded. Money, family, legacy, and she was going to waste it playing saint. That baby would have inherited billions while I had nothing. Catherine stood, hands shaking with rage. So yes, Diane screamed now. I convinced Andrew to help. Yes, I paid Caldwell and Webb. Yes, I told them to abandon the baby because I couldn't risk her asking questions later. Jasmine couldn't breathe. And yes, I had Grant killed, after what he did, after he humiliated me. After he threw me away for some 27-year-old. Walsh looked like he wanted to disappear. You want to know the worst part? Diane laughed, bitter, broken. I'm not sorry. Rachel was naive. She was going to squander that fortune on charity cases. I deserved it more. She looked at Jasmine, eyes cold. You survived, you're fine, you're about to inherit billions, so what's the problem? The room was silent, stunned. Catherine stepped forward, voice quiet, devastating. The problem, Diane, is you destroyed 3 lives for money you'll never spend. Because you're going to prison for the rest of your life, knowing all your scheming achieved nothing but your own destruction. Security entered, handcuffed Diane. As they led her away, she was still screaming. Rachel didn't deserve that fortune. She was weak. I was stronger. I deserved it. The door closed, silence. 6 months later. Catherine's estate, summer evening, golden light through tall windows. Jasmine sat in the library, medical school acceptance letter in her hands, full scholarship. Catherine's foundation funded it, but Jasmine earned it. Catherine entered, smiled. You did it. We did it, Jasmine corrected. They'd spent 6 months learning each other. It wasn't easy. 22 years of distance doesn't disappear overnight, but they were trying. Diane's trial starts next month, Catherine said. I know, Jasmine set the letter down. Part of me feels sad for her. Don't, Catherine's voice was firm but not harsh. She made her choices. She hurt people deliberately. Compassion is beautiful, but some people forfeit the right to it. Jasmine nodded. Rebecca took a plea deal, Catherine continued. 15 years. She helped facilitate everything. Knew what Andrew was doing, said nothing. And the hospital. Mercy General settled. $50 million to reform their record-keeping. It won't bring back the lost time, but it'll prevent this from happening again. Jasmine looked out the window, at the gardens, at the life she never imagined. Do you ever wonder what Rachel would think about me? Catherine's eyes softened. She'd be proud, she'd love you fiercely, and she'd be devastated about what happened but grateful you survived. I wish I could have known her. You will, Catherine pulled out a box. I've saved everything, videos, letters, photos, her journals. You can know her through these. Jasmine took the box, felt its weight, her mother's life in cardboard. Thank you. No, Catherine took her hand. Thank you for giving me a reason to keep going, for being brave enough to search for truth, for forgiving me for not knowing you existed. You didn't know. But I should have questioned, should have demanded to see the baby, should have trusted my instincts. Catherine's voice cracked. I failed Rachel, I won't fail you. They sat together in comfortable silence. Outside the sun set. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Medical school, Diane's trial, learning to be family. But tonight they had each other. And sometimes that's enough. If you've watched this far, thank you for being part of this journey. This story teaches us that truth, no matter how buried, always finds its way to light. That greed destroys everything it touches. And that family isn't just blood, it's the people who refuse to give up on you. Hit that subscribe button if this story moved you. Drop a comment about what you do in Jasmine's situation. And remember, your worth isn't determined by where you started, but by how you rise above what tried to break you. Until next time, keep seeking truth, keep demanding justice, and never let